That's an actual indictment of King George in the Declaration of Independence. History repeats. If you drop your guard, history repeats. I've often stated a conclusion about the Constitution that no liberal or neoconservative thinks. It is that if the Constitution were fully and honestly enforced, as it exists today, the federal government would be 20% its size and 20% its cost. I've been chided by some of my friends in the John Birch Society who say, no, the figure should be 10%. If the Constitution were honored, there would be no policing the planet, there would be no undeclared wars, there would be no Federal Reserve, there would be no federal funds for highways that can be taken away if a state refuses to knuckle under the big brother. Because if all of those unconstitutional programs were abolished, it wouldn't need an income tax, would it? 2 years ago, an occupant of the White House gave a famous speech. It started off 77 years ago. No paralleling what he said back then. Let's go back today to 14 years ago. And that takes us back to 1913. In 1913, 3 severe attacks on the American people's liberty were enacted. We got the direct election of senators, we got the Federal Reserve, and we got the income tax. All in 1913. Before 1913, as I'm sure many of you know, senators were appointed by the state legislators to guard states' rights against federal power. Wouldn't it be good to get back to that? Yeah. Neither the Federal Reserve or the income tax appeared in the Constitution originally. Both the Federal Reserve and the income tax are prominently listed, however, as 2 of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. It's Democrats and Republicans that are making our country a communist state. It's time to stop them. The founders were absolutely adamant about creating a republic, the rule of law, not a democracy. The rule of man that always degenerates to the rule of the mob. There's no mention of democracy in the Constitution. Not in the Declaration of Independence. And not in any of the 50 state constitutions. And yet we're told all the time that we pledge allegiance to the flag and to the what? Look what it stands. There is mention of republic in the Constitution. We are getting democracy and it's ruled by men instead of adherence to the republic, the rule of law, enshrined in the Constitution. Back to the Constitution. It gives the power to Congress to coin money. Not to start a bank. Not to allow a privately owned and unaccountable Federal Reserve.
Yes.
Only, this is what the founders meant, only to create a mint. To shape precious metals into coinage of a fixed size, weight, and purity. That's all it meant. So a mint was created, and it coined money. Now the Federal Reserve exists, and it does something impossible. It coins paper. Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution assigns the federal government the responsibility to protect the states from invasion. It doesn't say military invasion, just invasion. And 20 million illegal immigrants is an invasion. But the border remains wide open because our leaders are determined to create a North American Union. on the North American Union.
More votes!
Merger in the making is what we call it, and we've got to stop it. The New American, don't put any spaces between the words, thenewamerican.com. You can download the whole magazine free of charge.
Great!
Please do so. Our leaders refuse to do what the Constitution requires that they do. And I sometimes think the only part of the Constitution given much attention is that part that says they shall be paid out of the Treasury. Anyone who understands the Constitution knows that it's not a free pass to do whatever the government wants. It established government with very few powers, and then it stresses these limitations in the Bill of Rights. You know the Bill of Rights. What does it say? It says Congress shall not, Congress shall not, Congress shall not, shall not, shall not, all the way up to the marvelous 10th Amendment that says if we forgot anything, you can't do that either.
That's right.
So my friends, it's time to get back to the Constitution, and it's nice to know that there's a political candidate who says the same thing. If that's what you're for, you have my deep appreciation and equally deep appreciation of tens of thousands of members of the John Birch Society. So I'm going to close now with the motto of the John Birch Society. It's very simple. It says, less government, more responsibility, and with God's help, a better world. Less government under the Constitution, more responsibility under the Ten Commandments. And when this nation stands on that kind of solid ground, like that seat in second class, with God's help, it will bring about a better world. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have copies of a video I've done called Overview of America. There are copies, I don't know how many we have. If you can find somebody passing them out, grab one and take a look. And then jbs.org. You all know where to go for Ron Paul. Right? If you like Ron Paul, you'll love the John Birch Society.
That's right.